Hello there, Techinthehouse here for the second live stream ever of the channel. So currently I'm just setting up everything and I hope the audio is okay. Let's see. Okay, I've just checked the audio and it's fine. Perfect. So I hope everyone is doing good today. We don't have much people joining in yet. But yep, I will be setting up and we'll start everything very shortly. So the goal today is, as you can see by the title, we'll be reacting to a video, a conversation to be more specific, between Tim Cook and Marcus Brownlee. So get ready, get your popcorn, and the goal today is to have some discussion. Don't feel free to comment down below your thoughts during the video. I'll literally be playing it and reacting to it and making some points and getting my opinion through, and I'll be very happy for you to do the same. So comment everything that goes on your mind. Thank you for joining in, and we'll be starting shortly. So basically, this conversation, I haven't watched it yet, so it's truly a first for me. But I just want to add in some details in the sense that I believe, not sure, but I believe this conversation was right after WWDC because developers, I mean YouTubers and developers from all over the world attended, and this was probably after the presentation. Tim Cook managed to find some time and got to get interviewed or have conversations with these YouTubers, and yes, I mean these because there are more than one. As far as I know, Marcus Brownlee got an interview. There's another one called Super Saf TV, who also has a video on it, and possibly even others. So it seems to have been a wide something that a lot of YouTubers got to do. And as far as I understood it, it was in a private setting, each one of them. I'm not sure, but we'll see. But that's probably where I think it is. All these conversations were one-on-one, not more than two people, both Tim Cook and the respective YouTuber. I'm very excited about it. I mean, it's always interesting when the leader of a tech company, a giant, I mean, as big as Apple, gets to talk, and we'll see what are some of Apple's goals with these new changes they have been introducing, what are they hoping for, and what are their plans for the future. I think that's something always interesting to know. So yeah, stay tuned for this, and hopefully we have a laugh and a very good time here. I'm currently just setting up, and we'll start shortly. And actually today I have some surprises, which I'll be revealing shortly, in seconds. What are these surprises? Very simple. You probably are already familiar with this. This is the post screen. Well, today we have a new screen. It's not a post screen, but rather a space screen. Dun-dun-dun. Awesomeness incoming. So yep, we have a new wedding screen. Awesomeness incoming. It is awesome, I believe. But do let me know in the comments your opinion, because it's made for you guys. It's for the stream. And yeah, this was basically the the surprise for today, the new thing for today. Or was it? Kinda. We still have another little thing, which is uh not as interesting, but today let me just move on to the main window. Here we are, ready to react to the video. But what is the surprise we have today is you'll be able to see me. Well, not quite see me, but something like it. You see? You can see me on the lower right corner. This is how I'll be reacting to the video. I mean, it is something you're already familiar with. And it is the model we want to apply for the next videos. And the first video with this animated model, it has done very good, so it's something we're looking forward to continue doing. So here we have. Thank you for joining in. Not much people has joined in yet. We'll wait just a little bit more, probably a minute, and then move on forward. Thank you for joining in, and we'll be starting shortly. Let's move on to the space screen. See you in a second. Okay, I'm back, and we're back and ready to watch. We need to watch. Let's move on. I'll just make a check to make sure the sound is great, and then we'll move on. Because I need to make sure you can hear the video. Because if you can't hear it, that's a bummer, that's a problem. Let's check it out. I want to make sure everything works fine. Let's see, there we go. I suppose you guys probably prefer it on full screen, but just let this on. Okay, now let's see if it's audible. If anyone is joining in right now, today we'll be reacting to Tim Cook's interview with Marcus Brownlee. Right after WWDC 24, Apple's latest event with the newest tech they have to present to us, with a lot of new features concerning personalization, the iPhone, Apple Vision, a lot of things. I'm very interested in knowing what is the direction Apple will be heading in the future. Let's just check out the sound. Feel free to comment your thoughts on the interview, and I'll be doing the same. I'll be reacting, and hopefully we get here an interesting space to debate. Let's see if the audio functions. We're facing some connection issues. Let's just wait a little bit. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
You might hear about generative AI.
We're currently facing some connection issues, which will be solved shortly, hopefully. Let's see. Let's try and troubleshoot this. Connection does not seem to want to collaborate here. Let's see. Okay, that's some progress. Let's see, we can solve this. Okay, we're almost there. That's better. Okay, audio is confirmed to work, so we don't need this feedback anymore. And this will reduce the bandwidth and will make it easier for this to work. Problem is almost fixed. We'll be starting shortly, hopefully. I'll be back in some seconds. Okay, it's almost fixed. I'll just push you guys to the space screen while I fixed it, but it's basically almost fixed. Okay, perfect. There we go. Let's see. Okay, that's progress. Perfect. And we seem to be ready to go. Perfect. Let it just warm up. Let's see. There we go. Okay, we are ready. Let's bring you guys back to the main screen. Okay, here we are. So without further ado, let's watch this interview between Apple's CEO, the most valuable tech company in the world, and Marques Brownlee, a very old and renowned YouTuber. Let's see what interesting points they can make about tech, about Apple's direction in the future, and make some comments. Feel free to comment everything that comes to your mind in the comments. And let's start reacting.
All right, Tim,
Great to see you.
thanks for spending the time.
Thank you for coming.
So you had the WWDC keynote today,
Yeah.
which was really fun to watch. It was a whole 2 hours. I want to zoom all the way out because obviously a lot of talk about AI in general.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of just left wondering how Apple defines AI in general. Because I know if you ask a regular person, you might hear about
Okay, I feel like Marquez went straight in for the right questions, obviously. I think that's the question that's been in everyone's minds because we have an idea of AI as artificial intelligence and an idea of where it should be. Yet Apple seems to have a different idea in the sense that they even renamed it for Apple Intelligence. So there's some clear points and indications that there might be pointing to something slightly different than the other brands are doing. And that's something I think everyone wants to hear about. I'm very curious to see what Tim Cook will say.
generative AI, chatbots, things like that.
Yeah.
And these are relatively new additions to Apple's AI portfolio. How do you look at AI as Apple?
Well, we've been executing with AI for a long time.
Yes, I'm happy he's honest about that. Please, regardless of who you are and the people who are watching, AI, even though Apple, with its marketing, might make it seem like they only started using AI now from iOS 18 forward, that couldn't be further from the truth. Apple has been using AI for a long time, but they've been doing in secret, we could say, in the sense that they don't like to name it like that. They give it fun names like Photonic Engine for the photography, or machine learning. They just have been giving it different names, but they have using AI for a long time in photography, in a lot of things. So, but I'm glad he's honest about that. Look at his face.
Right.
It's at you're wearing a watch. It's at the root of the watch. I mean, you think about things like crash detection, fall detection, things like AFib and all of this kind of stuff is machine learning at the end of the day. And so, but what has captured people's imagination is generative AI. And we see it as the opportunity for a whole new curve of technology and providing and doing more things for people, providing an assistant for people, things that really improve people's lives.
Yeah, this is classic Apple. Apple's motto has been for a long time improve people's life, whether with iPhone, whether with Apple Watch. I think it's something every brand should aspire to. It makes all the sense. And yeah, he's making interesting points. I agree with everything so far. Feel free to comment anything regarding your opinion.
So that's how we
If you're
see
watching
it.
this, feel free to comment.
There's obviously, it's not without downside, and so we approach it very thoughtfully.
Sure.
And as you heard, we have always been focused on privacy.
Yes, that's kind of the second pillar of Apple, privacy.
And so privacy is a very key tenet of our thrust into AI.
Right. It's been interesting to watch.
It's interesting. I'm really curious. I don't know if Marcus will go into this, but I'm really curious about what he would say about the fact that Apple resorted to ChatGPT in some parts of the AI capabilities of the iPhone and how that will work in terms of privacy. Not that we don't know, we do. Siri, the Apple's assistant, if you don't know, Siri will just I mean, if you use an iPhone, you're familiar with Siri, and in this new version, what is supposed to happen is for Siri to ask for permission to you to access ChatGPT capabilities only when it needs, and you will concede that permission, and then it will do that. So that's the privacy barrier. But it's still a kind of a funny question to make because it's very rare for Apple to do partnerships with third-party companies, and so it would be something to touch in. And he's probably gonna ask him about it. I hope so. We'll see so far. But if you use an iPhone and you're watching this, please let me know in the comments how often do you use Siri, or if it's just something you forget about it and never use it, or maybe use it sometimes and when you use it, it's something that it's even slower, actually slower than doing it by manually. Please let me know in the comments. Feel free to comment.
Apple's arc with AI because I made a whole piece not more than about a year ago about how Apple seems to never say AI, even though they have all these neural engines and machine learning and things like that.
Yeah.
And so now we have almost this
Tim Cook laughing nervously because his no is blatantly true. They do not mention AI
pivot where now
on purpose.
we're just saying it. We're actually branding it Apple Intelligence
They
now.
don't do it on
I'm
purpose.
curious why that change now.
Well, in the beginning and throughout almost everything that we always do, we always talk about the benefit to the user. And so the benefit to the user is crash detection and fall detection, not the technology behind the feature.
Sure.
And so we still view it like that, but it became clear that people wanted to know our views on generative AI in particular.
Yeah.
And so we decided to.
Yes, it is a very important distinction. I like that he's making that distinction. This boom of AI is more related to generative AI in specific, which is what ChatGPT is. Is this new wave of artificial intelligence capable of producing audio and text in a way that it's very, very user friendly. Is this new wave of intelligent sounding AIs, very organizational, very sharp, very smart. This is what's new here. It's this generative AI.
Embrace it and called it Apple Intelligence.
Okay. I have a quote from the Dua Lipa interview that you did.
Oh, okay.
It was great.
It was fun. She's fantastic.
Okay, it looks like Tim Cook did an interview with a music celebrity. God knows why. I don't know. I'm not gonna comment a lot because I have not seen that interview, but it just seems odd. Not sure what that is. Interesting. Interesting. I have no idea what that is. Okay, okay. Still fun though. It looks like Tim Cook wants to make the jump to a celebrity.
I loved it. It was great. You had a quote that said about AI, if it can be used for nefarious things, we won't go down that road.
Yeah.
And at the time, I assumed that that meant generative AI was off the table because of all the things that we'd seen about what it was potentially capable of or things that it might do. Has that changed? Is that something that was off the table and you figure now you've got the right tools or the right restrictions to make sure that that all goes super well? How do you think about that?
Generative AI was never off the table.
Okay.
It was always about pursuing it in a thoughtful kind of way. And
That's probably the third pillar of Apple. Doing things in a thoughtful way. Doing things the Apple way.
so that's what we've done.
So they do like the first pillar of Apple, improve people's lives. Second pillar of Apple, privacy. Third pillar, making things the Apple way. Let's see what more pillars of Apple does Tim Cook drops here in this interview.
And we've implemented.
I'm enjoying it so far. Please let me know in the comments how are you liking it so far. Are you liking Tim Cook's responses? Am I stopping it too much? And also do let me know that. Please comment. Feel free to comment.
It in ways that are less likely to create issues.
How so?
How so? Well, things that, if you think about the kinds of things that we talked about personal context, and we talked about privacy. And so we're not waiting for a comprehensive privacy legislation, regulation to come into effect. We already view privacy as a fundamental human right, and so that's the lens that we see it at. And given that we're doing those things, personal context and privacy, we wanted to integrate it at a deep level, so you're not having to think, oh, well, now I want to do something that uses intelligence. We put it in the apps that you're already using and integrated it deeply.
They made it seamless.
Yeah, I think
that's what he meant.
Also, now there's a lot of
I'm not sure why he's not using the word. Maybe it's another one of those words they avoid, but he created a seamless experience. That's what he's explaining. Something seamless.
talk about it now that there is generative AI.
Yeah.
A lot of people Apple's notorious for never sending anything to the cloud. Everything's on device because that is the most secure way to do it, and was applauded for it. Interestingly, this is a little bit different now. With a lot of these larger models, more complex requests, you actually do have to go off of device. So you've developed, I want to get the name right, private cloud compute. Explain this to us, because I think the general chatter online is, well, they have to be sending data to OpenAI, for example.
Yep, Marcus is finally getting into the hot topics, at least one of them. Their partnership with OpenAI. So they'll be sending data, obviously. And what happens to that data? How is privacy secured? Everyone is wondering that. I'm not an Apple user, but if I was, I would be probably a privacy concerned person, and I'll be questioning that. So let's see what Tim Cook says. And just to clarify about that private computing he was talking about, that's something Apple developed supposedly to assure this privacy, and that's what Tim Cook is about to explain how it works.
To get a request back from ChatGPT.
Well, there's private cloud compute, and then there's the arrangement with OpenAI. These two things.
Yes, these two things exactly.
They're different.
Okay.
And
let's let the man talk and explain. I'm gonna stop pausing.
So if you look at private cloud compute, we're utilizing the same silicon, or not the same silicon, but the same basic architecture as the silicon that's in that's in the iPhone
15. Yeah.
And we're using the same software. And so we believe that we've done it in such a way that it's as safe and secure and private in the private cloud compute as the device. And so we really worked on this a lot and put a lot of wood behind that arrow to assure that. If you're working on something that requires world knowledge, so you're out of the
local
domain of personal context and so forth, then you may want to go and use one of the large language models that are on the market. And we selected what we feel is the best one with OpenAI and ChatGPT. But you'll make a conscious decision to do that.
every time.
Every time.
So you can guarantee that there will never be any data sent to OpenAI without your explicit user
That's right.
permission.
That's right.
Okay, that was pretty self-explanatory. Explain it very, very well. I will not make any specific comment. They assure the privacy.
You decide.
Right. I also feel like there was this blip on the radar of standalone AI devices, which I found really interesting. They didn't land too well. I think smartphones are pretty great. But there was an interesting conversation around that about using your phone less. Maybe having AI help you out in ways that let you spend less time on the screen. And this is something you echoed also in the Dua Lipa interview. Like, if you're looking at your phone more than you're looking into someone else's eyes, something's off there.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a potential future where we're using our phones less because of how well the intelligence works?
That's a very interesting question. Is artificial intelligence capable of reducing our screen time? I'm not sure about that. We'll see what Tim Cook thinks. Also, maybe because we've seen artificial intelligence devices that have tried to make that by literally not having screens and just working by voice commands. What did it happen? They become limited. People don't like limited things. People are used to smartphones which have like a whole lot of capabilities. Your smartphone is your card. Your smartphone is basically your television. Your smartphone is everything, is your wallet. Your smartphone is your photographic camera. People like multifunctional things, but we'll see. People love screens. They are very used to it. But let's see what Tim Cook thinks about it.
I think it's a possibility and a significant possibility. I mean, for us, we've never been motivated for people to spend their lives on their devices. Our model is not one that needs engagement to succeed. Our model is one that where we want to empower you to be able to do things you couldn't do otherwise. We want to give you a tool so you can do incredible things that you couldn't do without the tool. That's what motivates us. And so we come out with things like screen time, et cetera. So it's a bit in your face.
Okay, I like that it's pointing out screen time, but I do not like the way it's saying it. It's saying it in a way that it's like we came up with it, we invented it. I don't think you invented screen time, Tim Cook, but sure, it was a useful feature, and Apple did it perfectly fine. It was very well executed, but it exists for ages and in other brands, so you did not come up with it. You implemented it, if anything. But I do agree with his point, though.
As to how much you're using your device.
True.
We count your notifications and so forth so that you can go in and say, do I really want this many notifications? And we have focus kinds of states where you can silence the phone, et cetera. And so I do believe that as things get smarter and smarter with Apple Intelligence, that you can even take things that were taking more time will take less time now.
Right.
And so I do think that opportunity exists.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a curious
It's true.
future.
I understand.
It is.
Approach.
It is. And
not saying literally that AI in itself can reduce screen time by just existing, not as a feature, but rather a consequence of how fast, sharp, and organized it is. Because the faster, the sharper, and the more organized your life ends up, the less screen time you need. Imagine we can apply this to anything. Imagine you need to do a spreadsheet. If you have, let's imagine you have artificial intelligence on Excel, the Microsoft Excel, which is something that exists. I mean, Microsoft has been implementing artificial intelligence on their things. So if you get to do your enterprise spreadsheets faster with this AI, you'll end up having less screen time on Microsoft Excel. So, yeah, from that approach, I agree. I absolutely agree. It has the potential to reduce the screen time of people. As people use the problem is imagine if you what do you do with that extra time? Some people will just go scroll on social media and TikTok, and I guess that's not reducing screen time, but I do agree with this point. I just don't know if how effective it will be because of people's kind of addiction already to screens.
And I think I'm really optimistic about it.
Yeah. I feel like there was tons of chatter when you were first CEO of Apple about this new shift, obviously coming from Steve Jobs, and you've been CEO for what feels like a long time now, and we're entering this new age of AI, and I'm curious now there's new chatter about who's the next CEO is going to be. What do you feel like your legacy as CEO at Apple should be?
Yeah, Marquez, I don't think about it.
Okay.
And so to me, a legacy is something that is defined by other people looking at you, not something that you define yourself.
Very fair.
And I typically am always focused on the forward, not the rearview mirror. And that is a characteristic of Apple in general, is we're very focused on the forward. You won't find a museum here, and yet we would have lots of things that you might like to see and reminisce about, but we just don't. It's just not a part of our culture.
Yeah.
And so I feel the same way personally. At some point, there will be another CEO, and my whole focus in life will be on making them successful.
Yeah. I like that answer. It's a very LeBron answer. I feel like he's
is that right?
Things. Yeah.
That's it's very philosophical, maybe even spiritual. Almost like you only judge your life after your death because it's something you do after everything is over. There's no point in evaluating while you're still at it. It makes sense. You only have a legacy when it finishes. So it's going and it doesn't matter because it's on the road. Wherever it's getting built, it's very I like it.
Yeah. All right. I want to end with a little game. I don't know if you've seen these where it's a blind ranking. Have you seen what these are?
A blind ranking.
Blind ranking. So we're going to do a top 5 Apple products of all time. But I'm going to give you them one at a time, and you don't know what the rest of them are. So you have to rank the first one without knowing what 2, 3, 4, and 5 are.
Oh, okay. And this is your ranking?
This will be your unofficial ranking, just based on your gut reaction of how you feel about the products.
Oh, this is a tough one because
it is a tough one.
It's like asking you your favorite kids or nephews or nieces.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay, number 1.
Okay.
So me and my family have been on a mission over the last 10 years to visit every single country in the world. Sometimes we are...
Skip.
Number 1, MacBook Air. It had that iconic moment of like taking it out the envelope on stage. It's the most popular laptop in the world, I think.
It's the most popular in the world, and that moment of taking it out of the folder established a characteristic about that device that lives today.
Sorry, unrelated comment, just so you guys know. Like the computer I'm streaming from is blatantly hot. It's like boiling hot. And if the stream happens to shut down suddenly, just so you guys don't get confused, it's probably an explosion. I'm kidding. It's probably the computer shutting off. So just so you know. but I don't think it will happen. Historically, this computer is very good at handling heat, but just in case.
The first one, it wasn't about how many people would buy it.
Yeah.
It was about establishing the foundation.
Was that the first Air
That was
product?
that was of any line.
Yeah. It might have been.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
I believe so. And so I'm going to fail miserably at giving you a ranking, but it was a huge moment.
Yeah.
A huge moment for the company.
The iPad?
Oh, wow. You know, tablets had been in the market for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our objective is never to be first. Mm-hmm. Our objective is to be best.
I remember all the rumors leading up to it.
And there were many rumors leading up to it, and people thought
about the pillars of Apple.
many things that weren't too nice about it in the beginning, including the name.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I couldn't live without my iPad today.
Yeah.
And so another huge moment for the company.
My number 3 is the Magic Mouse.
The Magic Mouse.
Doing things the Apple.
It was also an incredible moment.
Magic Mouse.
People don't think of that as much as they would the MacBook Air and the iPad and whatever else you're going to name, mm-hmm. probably. Mm-hmm. But getting the...
At the time the first Magic Mouse got released, we here at home, we did get a Magic Mouse, and for some reason, I don't know if it's why if it's because the batteries exploded or inside, or we're not sure, but after some years it just stopped working. Just saying, but it was very innovative, but at the end of the day, not very.
Oh, I love Vision Pro. I was just using it last night to look at the screening.
Yeah, what do you use Vision Pro for? I asked everybody who has one what they use it for.
I use it for the entertainment value. I use it when I want to do multitasking because I find the multiple windows really effective in doing this. Of course, I'm reviewing lots of apps on it right now, and some of those are enterprise apps, some people's proprietary apps that they want to share with us, and I'm seeing an extraordinary number and variety of things coming out of the enterprise area, far earlier than we would have predicted.
Interesting.
Because businesses generally move slow to adopt.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing is that half of the Fortune 100 is now buying Vision Pro for some project or the other, or exploring it.
Interesting.
And so I'm looking at several of those, and I find that it's still an emotional experience to look at your photos, and with Vision OS 2, being able to take your old photos and make them 3D, I think is a big thing.
Yeah.
And, I lost both of my parents and before Vision Pro came out, and being able to go back and look at those photos differently is something that, it's an experience you can't replicate.
For sure. Well, we didn't get a blind ranking.
There was a little cut there. Hopefully, we are still online. Not sure what went away, but we are basically on the end of the interview. Let's just watch the last 30 seconds of it.
But we got a pretty good retrospective of some of these products. Thanks again for the time. Looking forward to the next feature drops and the next dub, but this was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, it was great fun. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So it's over. I will end the stream by doing some considerations and opinions. Let's see. was a very interesting interview. I like that they touched on interesting points like Apple's approach to AI and how they implemented privacy, some nostalgia of how Apple products have changed the world. But at the end of the day, yes, I'll give a 4 out of 5 to this interview. There's some things I'd like to hear about, respectively and specifically. I like them. I would like Marcus to have asked Tim about the recent changes in App Store and how is it going with the, how, for example, why they allowed to suddenly allow emulators on the App Store and how is the reviewing process going and how are they controlling apps outside from their own stores and how that process going? And but I do understand that it could be a very controversial topic to be asking there. So and they seem to have had a short time, only 15 minutes. So, but it's still something that would be interesting to hear about. So that was all for today. Thank you for tuning into this stream. Hopefully, this was the second stream of the channel. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully we get to do a third and a fourth and a fifth with the new topics to discuss. Thank you for everyone that tuned in. I hope you have the rest of a nice and wonderful day, and we see each other next time. I'll be pushing you to the space screen. I'm Techinthehouse. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We'll be here to discuss tech topics, hopefully more times live. And everyone is free to comment their thoughts and opinions. I'm Techinthehouse, and I'll see you next time. This stream will end in a few seconds.